Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. And, excuse me, we're in Exodus chapter 12 and verse 13. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt. And they had the animals and they sacrificed them. They put the blood on their doorposts. But of course, this is a reference to what happens to us as Christians when we have the blood of Christ on us. And if anybody is a Christian, they're covered by the blood of Christ. And the plague of death, eternal death, will not cover us. And the plague of death here in Egypt would not cover any of the Israelite houses because the death angel would see that blood and pass them by. That's why they call this meal that they're eating the Passover, because the death angel will pass over the house. Verse 14, this is a day you are to commemorate. For the generations to come, you will celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day, remove the yeast from your houses, for whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through the seventh must be cut off from Israel. On the first day, hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the seventh day. Do not work at all on these days except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Now, yeast is what makes bread rise, and so they're told not to eat anything with yeast. And it's so serious, in fact, that when they hold their annual ceremony, remembering this in the future, they got to just get the yeast out of their house so they won't even be tempted to put the yeast in anything. And I will tell you also that in the New Testament, yeast a lot of times is referred to, but most of the time yeast is referred to in a negative way. It's something that is usually used to refer to somebody teaching something that isn't good or living a way that's not good, and how a little bit of yeast can spread, and it's usually a negative thing. It's not always a negative thing, but usually it is. Anyway, just put that in the back of your mind. One day we'll be dealing with that. All right. Verse 16, on the first day, hold a sacred assembly. I have to do this because a little pop-up comes up every now and then. Hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the seventh day. Do not work at all on these days except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Verse 17, celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now that seems kind of contradictory, doesn't it? A feast of unleavened bread, bread without yeast, you got to feast on that. It'd be like a feast of crackers, okay? Because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread made without yeast from the evening of the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day. He's telling them exactly when they're supposed to do this every single year. Verse 19, for 7 days no yeast is to be found in your houses, and whoever eats anything with yeast in it must be cut off from the community of Israel, whether he's an alien or native born. All right. Sometimes God repeats himself because he's really serious. Notice he's saying this again. Verse 20, eat nothing made with yeast. Okay, do you think he's made the point here? All right, yes, for some reason people don't listen when he says things over and over. Wherever you live, you must eat unleavened bread. Over and over. He just keeps repeating this. Verse 21, then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Okay, in other words, you guys got to get to this here because it's about to happen. Take a bunch of hyssop, and that's just some kind of plant or something that they used. Okay, it had like little leaves on it. It made it easy to spread things. Dip it into the blood in the basin and put some of the blood on the top and on both sides of the doorframe. Not one of you shall go out the door of his house until morning. Remember, the death angel's coming. Verse 23, when the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on the top and sides of the door frame and pass over that doorway, and he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised, observe this ceremony. All right? And we're going to have to stop here, but This is a huge deal, and that's why I told you we're going to take our time getting through this. This event is about to change history. Okay, this is so significant. Everything is going to change throughout the entire course of history. So we've got to spend some time with it. Hey, but we've spent 5 minutes today, so come back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.